الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وإيمانا وفقها في الدين. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وتجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا يا رب العالمين. So today we'll be discussing about the prostration of error.
Prostration of error.
Yeah, or prostration of forgetfulness. That's sujudu as-sahwi. قال المؤلف رحمه الله باب سجود السهو. وسجود السهو سجدتان قبل سلامه إن نقص سنة مؤكدة يتشهد لهما ويسلم منهما وإن زاد سجد بعد سلامه. So سجود السهو باب سجود السهو. This is a chapter that discusses about prostration, that discusses about prostration of error or prostration of forgetfulness. So before we start reading what the author, may Allah have mercy on him, said, let's give a brief introduction. Before we start reading what the author said, let's give a brief introduction about Sujood al-Sahwi. So, Sujood al-Sahwi, it's meant for correcting our forgetfulness in Salah, right? The errors that we make and also what we forget in Salah. How do we correct them? Okay, so that's the purpose of what? Sujood al-Sahwi, right? So this Sujood al-Sahwi, there are certain things, there are certain errors, there are certain mistakes, there are certain forgetfulness that it can correct, there are certain forgetfulness that it cannot correct. Okay, so if you remember very well, we discussed about obligatory act of Salah. We discussed about Sunan of Salah, and we discussed about the virtuous act of Salah, the recommended act of Salah, Fada'il, right? Okay, so we said that the obligatory act of Salah, it's an act that we must what? Perform it, we must do. If we fail to do it, the Salah is invalid. Right? But with the Sunan, even though the Sunan and then the Fadail are also important, okay? But when it comes to Sujood al-Sahw, we only correct the Sunan. Yeah, so when we forget obligatory act of Salah, the Sujood al-Sahw cannot correct it. You get it? Cannot correct it. So we have to what? We have to perform it. We either correct it, I will explain that we either correct it or pray a complete unit prayer, a rak'ah, in place of that mistake. You get it? Alright. So, okay.
So, the Sujood al-Sahwi, we cannot also correct the nullifiers of prayers. Maybe things that you do in prayer to nullify your prayers.
Dam of Sidat Salah?
Yes.
No, we will come to that. Okay. But this, what you need to know is that we have Fara'id al-Salah, we have Sunan al-Salah, and we have Fada'il. So the Sunan, the Fara'id al-Salah, the obligatory act of Salah, this prostration, Sujood al-Sahw, prostration of error, cannot correct it. Just keep this in mind. And then also, the Fada'il, that recommended act, the virtuous act of Salah. This Fada'il, when we perform it too, we don't correct it with what? With Sujood al-Sahw. It does not require us to what? To perform Sujood al-Sahw. Is that clear? So the only part of the salah that we can correct when we make an error or mistake or forget is what? The sunan. Do you get it?
Yeah.
The sunan. Is it clear?
Yes.
Right? So when you get this, then we can start. Is this clear?
No, the last part.
I said that we have three parts of what? Prayer, right? With the actions of salah or the acts of salah have been what? Categorized into three groups, right? Or three categories. We have the obligatory act, we have the sunan, and we have the fada'i, right? That is the virtuous act or the recommended act. Okay, so the obligatory act of salah, when we make a mistake or we forget something or we make an error, sujood sahwi cannot correct this. We have to what? We have to correct it, make it up, or pray a complete unit prayer in place of that mistake. You get it? We will go into details, but this is just what a summary and introduction for you to understand. If we say sujood sahwi, what you should focus on. You understand? When you say sujood sahwi, you don't focus on what? On the obligatory act of salah. You also don't forget, you don't also what? The virtuous at the fada'il, because the fada'il does not necessitate sujood sahwi. Do you get it? The only group, the only part of salah that necessitates sujood sahwi is the sunan. Do you get it? The sunan. Alright. So this sunan, and then we have also sujood al-sahwi, al-qabli, and we also have ba'di. So the qabli is when you omit something in the salah. I mean, part of what? The sunan. When you omit it, then you what? You make the sujood before the salam. Is it clear?
No.
And then when you add something, let's say a rak'ah, or you added a takbir or a tasbih, this, what do? You make the sujood after the taslim, right? After the taslim. So is this clear?
No,
okay. Any question?
No.
All right, now let's start. Babu sujud sahwi. Chapter that discusses about prostration of error. وسجود السهو سجدتان قبل سلامه إن نقص سنة مؤكدة. So he says sujud sahwi, it's what? Two prostration. Two prostration that we perform قبل سلامه, before the taslim. When do we perform this sujud sahwi, these two prostration of error? He said, in naqasa sunnatun mu'akkada. When a person omits a sunnah, or a highly emphasized sunnah, that's sunnatun mu'akkada in salah. So let's when a person omits sunnah, right? Sunnah of what? Of salah. So that's when it necessitates the sujood sahwi. You get it? So it means that you are praying and then you forgot to perform one of what? The sunan. So now let's understand what the sunan are before we what? We start. So here, recitation of surah after Fatiha. Right? Recitation of surah after Fatiha. It's what? It's sunnah, and also part of sunnah mu'akkada of salah. And then jahr, reciting it loudly. It's also what? Part of sunnah mu'akkada. And reciting it, of course, reciting loudly where you have to recite loudly. right? Like in Salat in Maghrib, in Isha, and then Fajr prayer. And then you recite silently when it is required. That's in Zuhur and then Asr. Is that clear? Alright. And then the tashahhud, the two tashahhud, the first tashahhud and then the second tashahhud are all what? Part of Sunnah Mu'akkada. Is that clear? And then also the first sitting, it's also part of Sunnah Mu'akkada. So if a person forgets one of these, then it's what? Then this forgetfulness or omission necessitates what? Sujood sahwi. Is this clear?
No.
Okay.
So, you said the tashahhud first and the second, but you can find the same tashahhud both in the first and the second.
No, the first and the second tashahhud are part of the sunnah, but the first sitting too, it's part of the sunnah, but the second sitting is obligatory. Is it clear? So what is your question?
My question is on the tashahhud.
Mm-hmm.
You can find both the first sitting and the second sitting, both, but definitely you see the tashahhud in the second sitting too as well.
Yeah, so I'm saying that the first tashahhud, it's sunnah, not obligatory. And then the sitting is also what? Sunnah. The second tashahhud is also what? Sunnah. But the second sitting is what? Obligatory.
Okay.
Is it clear? Is it clear?
That means the same, but the sitting is
The
obligatory.
tashahhud, at-tahiyyatu lillah, az-zakiyatu lillah, this is sunnah. It's part of sunnah to mu'akkad. But the sitting, to sit, the last sitting, the final sitting is what? It's obligatory. Right? Is it clear?
No.
Okay. So when you omit or forget any of these, the what we just mentioned, if you forget any of these, then it's what? It necessitates sujood sahwi. Is it clear? It's what? It necessitates what? Sujood sahwi. So when you forget any of these, you what? You perform sujood sahwi, these two prostration of error, before the taslim. Before the what? The taslim. Is this clear?
Yeah.
So let's say that you forgot to recite a surah after Fatiha, and then you prayed the first rak'ah, that is in the first rak'ah, and then in your second rak'ah, before you went for ruku', you remembered that you did not what? You did not recite Fatiha. So in this case,
Fatiha or surah?
sorry, surah, surah, right? And then you remember that you did not recite surah. Okay, so here we said before the ruku' of what? The second rak'ah, you remembered. Here you can what? You can correct it. Is it clear? Here you can correct it. How do you correct it? So now you are standing, right? You stood up for the second rak'ah. So what do? You recite, you will not repeat Fatiha. When you repeat Fatiha, your prayer is void. So you don't repeat Fatiha. What do? You recite. After you recite, you go for ruku', you go for sujood, two sujood, then you get up for the second rak'ah.
Say that's I go to ruku', during the ruku', I remember.
I said before the ruku' of the second rak'ah. Okay, the scenario again. You forgot to recite surah after Fatiha in the first rak'ah.
Okay. Okay.
Is it clear?
No.
Alright. So after that, you went for rukun. After rukun, you went to perform 2 sujud. So are you done with the first rak'ah or not?
Yes.
You are done. So you what? You stood up for the second rak'ah. So before you recited Fatiha and Surah and go for a rukun, you remember that you did not recite, you forgot to recite Surah in the first rak'ah. So here you can what? You can correct it. So correcting it is what? You are already standing, right? So you recite Surah. You still consider the Fatiha. You don't have to repeat the Fatiha. So you recite Surah. Go for rukun. Go for 2 sujud. Then get up and what? Start the second rak'ah.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay. In this, now, don't forget that we said you remember that you did not recite Surah before the rukun of the second rak'ah. Is it clear? So after, now, let's say that you remembered it. After the rukun of the second rak'ah. In this case, you can't what? You can't correct it. Because you are already done with what? You are almost done with what? With the second rak'ah. Immediately you are done with the rukun. After the rukun, you get up. You are what? Then now we consider that you are done with what? With the second rak'ah. Right? So in this case, you don't what? You can't correct it. But before the taslim, you have to what? You have to do sujud of what? Sujud sahwi before the taslim. Is it clear? Okay.
So, what if
وسجود السهو سجدتان قبل سلامه إن نقص سنة مؤكدة يتشهد لهما ويسلم منهما. So that's the first. If a person omits something or forgets something in Salah, something that is part of the Sunnah Mu'akkada, the highly emphasized Sunnah, that's Sunnah Mu'akkada, right? So when a person forgets any of that, we've already mentioned it, right? Okay, so if a person forget any of that, then the person has to what? Has to perform 2 sujud before the taslim. That's the sujud qabli, right? Sujud qabli, right? Yeah. Is that clear?
no?
All right. So, example of that, we said that when you are praying, let's say you are in the first rak'ah,
No.
okay, and you forgot surah, okay, you forgot what? Surah. So here you what? Here you can what? You can correct it. That's let's say after you forgot the surah, you are done with the first rak'ah, with the first unit completely. That's after you've performed the 2 sujud. When you get up for the second rak'ah and you remember, you can still what? You can still correct. How do you correct? You correct by what? Reciting a surah. Then you go for rukun. Then you rise. You go for sujud. And then sujud. Then you rise. Then the second rising will be what? For the second rak'ah. Is that clear? In this case, you've what? You've corrected that forgetfulness. Is that clear? But if you, in the second rak'ah, after your rukun, after you've gone for rukun, you can't correct that forgetfulness. So in that case, you have to wait till the taslim. Then you what? You prostrate 2 prostration, that the sujud qabli, 2 prostration before the taslim. Do you get it? Okay.
Say, what if in the first rak'ah and you omitted the surah, so you forgotten the surah, and you actually went to the ruku, and maybe you are saying that one in the ruku, and you just remembered and you stood up again. Can you still recite Fat?
Yeah.
Surah?
Yes, now you can correct it. So here, you still have the chance to correct. So you can you can recite surah, then go for ruku again, go for sujood, then rise.
Meaning
for the
previous ruku is...
Yeah, you will not consider that. Is that clear?
So, okay, what of Fatiha?
Fatiha?
You have to.
You have the same thing.
No, Fatiha. Yeah, so Fatiha is fard, right? With Fatiha, there's no sujood sahwi for Fatiha. So what do? You have to start over. You have to. So while standing after ruku, you recite Fatiha again. You recite surah, then you go for ruku. You get it? Then you continue. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what if maybe you've gone for the maybe after the okay, let's maybe the first sujood, then remember that I haven't done Fatiha. Can you stand up again, or maybe you complete the sujood before you go back?
Okay. So you forgot that you've not recited Fatiha, and then when before your second sujood, you remember that you forgot Fatiha. You forgot to recite Fatiha, right? So in this case, in this case, you can just rise, recite Fatiha. You can rise, recite Fatiha, surah, go for ruku, and then sujood, then you continue.
But I said, if it's surah that you've forgotten, you can still do the same.
Yeah, you can still do the same. Right? So what's the difference here?
Say, the difference is that the first one is because it's fard. So you can't correct fard with as you do the sahwi.
Yeah.
So which means you
have to perform it, right?
But with the one that you can perform it, you can correct with sujood sahwi.
Under which category does that fall?
For the sunnah.
Sunnah.
Yes. So which means that you can actually proceed, and later on you correct it with sujood qabli.
Yeah, sujood qabli. Right. That's when that's after the rukun of the second rakah. At that time, you have no chance to correct. Then you proceed, and then you perform sujood al-qabli. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Is it confusing? It's not. Are you sure? Okay. Somehow. All right. So now, you also mentioned another issue here. You've forgotten something, and then you did sujood qabli. So do you have to repeat the tashahhud, or you don't have to?
So you don't.
You don't have to.
Yes.
The question is, you forgot, let's say, surah, right? Surah, we said it's part of sunnah, right? So this you can correct with what?
Sujood.
With sujood al-sahwi, right? Okay. So that sujood al-sahwi, qabli or ba'di? Qabli. Why? Because you've omitted, you've reduced. Okay. So in this case, after you first sit, that's the final sitting, you make your tashahhud, you make your salat ala nabi, and any dua that you want. Then you are done. So it's left with with the taslim. But before the taslim, you have to go for what? Sujood qabli, right? That two sujood al-qabli. Before the taslim. So after the sujood al-qabli, do you have to say tashahhud again? Are you sure?
Yes.
No, you have to say tashahhud. You have to say tashahhud.
So it's optional.
Really?
That's what I do.
You have to say this is a prominent opinion in the madhab. You have to say it again, right? Because salam is what is preceded. It's always preceded by tashahhud. So in this case, there's something in between the taslim and then the tashahhud. So you have to repeat the tashahhud again. Do you get it? Of course, the tashahhud, we said it's wrong. It's both sunnah, right? It's not obligatory, but ideally it is preferred that the taslim is preceded by tashahhud. So after the sujood al-qabli, you have to repeat the tashahhud. But here, when you repeat the tashahhud, you don't have to do what? You don't have to say salat ala nabi and also repeat the dua. Do you get it? Only the tashahhud, then the taslim. Is that clear?
Okay. So which means that forgetfulness of that one too. the tashahhud before the qabli taslim does not also, it doesn't affect the salat.
It doesn't affect.
But it's recommended you do.
It's recommended you do. So here, that's what he said. إن نقص سنة مؤكدة يتشهد لهما ويسلم. Right? So you make what? Tashahhud for it, and then you want to make the taslim. Do you get it?
No.
Okay. وإن زاد, that's for the person who has what? Added something. وإن زاد سجد بعد سلامه. That's when a person adds something in salah, then the person has to what? Do sujud al-qabli. Sujud ba'di. Right? So meaning that this sujud will come after the taslim. So now, a scenario, let's say that a person has, let's say the person has added rak'ah in salah, forgetfully. The person has forgot and then added the rak'ah. So this rak'ah, if it is intentional, deliberate, then the salah is invalid. Do you get it? But if it is out of forgetfulness, then the person can what? The person will have to what? Perform sujud al-ba'di, that's sujud al-sahwi, ba'di. Do you get it? Is it clear?
So in this sujud al-ba'di too, it means that you have to proceed it with the tashahhud. That's after salam, then you go to the sujud again, you do the tashahhud again.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that one too, you do tashahhud.
Yeah, you do tashahhud. Yeah. So here he said, "Wa yatashahhad lahuma wa yusallim." So you perform both. Is it clear? Okay.
And sorry, say about the addition of the rak'ah, I thought maybe one is two or more intentional.
We'll come to that. That's when you add, if it is 2 units prayer and you add 2 rakat, the salah is not, it's void. Do you get it? When it is 4 units prayer and you add 4 rakat, the salah is what? It's void. Is it clear? Yeah. Here, it doesn't matter whether deliberately or out of forgetfulness. The salah is what is now. It means that you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. Do you get it?
Say, what if the person, the imam, stood up to add the first rak'ah? He even finished reciting the Fatiha before one of the followers remembers, or the Ma'mun reminds him that he has added one. So how did they correct that particular person in that situation?
So here let's say he, after the final sitting, he thought it's a first sitting. You get it? And then he stood up. So before he erects completely, he will say Allah Akbar, and the Ma'mun will surely see him, right? So some will say Subhanallah, Subhanallah. Right? So if he did not pay,
the Ma'mun and all of them, they were confused. So the Imam started Fatiha and one of the Ma'mun remembered. So it was like Subhanallah, Subhanallah or something.
Yeah, so here it's permissible for the Ma'mun who remember to say something, to speak and correct the salah. Because when the Imam, after all that, when the Imam, continue to pray, after all that, the salah is what? Yeah. So after the person has spoken and said, this is the 5th rak'ah. Right? This is the 5th rak'ah. And then he continued to pray. And the salah is not. Okay. Do you get it? So they have to start over again.
Okay, you can say this is the 5th rak'ah.
Yeah, you remember we said that.
Yes.
When he says something that is not part of the salah, to correct it, it's permissible. Because if you don't say this and then you continue to pray the 5th rak'ah, you have to start over again. Do you get it? But you can't say more than necessary.
Yes.
Let's see, what you can say for the Imam to understand is, this is the 5th rak'ah. Of course, when you tell Imam this is the 5th rakah, you should know the danger. Right? You should know the danger. So he has to what? He has to go over. He has to sit and then make the tasbih. When you continue, the salat is not. Because here he's adding something deliberately. Do you get it?
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that means that even if he was corrected and he sits, and after the taslim, he can still perform the ba'di, completely ba'di. Sujood ba'di.
Sujood sahwi ba'di. Yeah, sujood ba'di. Yeah. Why? Because he has added. You get it?
Okay, sure, again, before we continue. You said sunnah.
Mm-hmm.
You said sunnah. If there is a mistake in sunnah,
Mm-hmm.
and you rearrange it again, you don't have to do kamili or bad.
Yeah.
But say, what if in the case maybe now that you've gone for the ruku, like you are gone sujood, then you remember, or maybe after the ruku, now you remember, you went back in. You rearrange it again, and you've gone to the tashahhud, the last point.
Mm-hmm.
There is no sujood sahwi again.
Yeah, so since you've corrected it, there's no sujood sahwi. You get it? There's no sujood sahwi. You don't have to perform sujood sahwi.
Does that mean
When you deliberately perform sujood qabli, the salah is...
there's a less?
Okay, check. That means maybe if you forget sunnah, then you decide to continue. That's where you do kabli and bad.
Yeah, that's when you have no chance to correct.
What if maybe you have the chance but you didn't correct it, then
There's still no problem. You can still do qabli to correct it. There's no problem. The salah is still valid. Yeah. Because it is what? It is sunnah. You get it? But if it is fard, there's no way. You have to what? You have to make it. You have to find a way to correct it. Either if you are done with the rak'ah completely, you have to what? You have to consider the second rak'ah, first rak'ah, then continue.
okay. So what of this one? Farila. You left something, then you arrange it, then you've gone to the tashahhud. Still, there's no kabli or bad again.
Here there will be ba'di. There will be ba'di. Why? Because you've added something. This is addition. So meaning the salah is how many rak'ah?
Maybe 4.
No. Maybe 5. It depends.
Yes.
If you are praying Maghrib, then it's 4. If you are praying Zuhur, then it's 5. Then what will you do here? You've added, so what will you do? Ba'di.
Okay, but
Do you get it?
the rule is, if you are able to arrange it, there's no problem. But why kabli or bad?
Yeah, see, the qabli supersedes ba'di, meaning it's stronger than the ba'di. And the qabli, it's considered part of the prayer. Do you get it?
No.
The qabli, sujood sahwi, qabli, it's considered part of the prayer. So when you do sujood sahwi, qabli, where you don't supposed to do it, it is as if you were to deliberately added something in the salah, and that will nullify the prayer. Is that clear?
No.
Yeah. So you have to be careful here.
Okay.
You know, you'll be correcting and then you go and what, nullify your prayer.
So that means that was the additional adding you're talking about initially. That when you add one salah to one rakat to your prayers, it's nullifies.
Yeah, that's if you do that deliberately. But if it is out of forgetfulness, then you can what? You will do sujood sahwi ba'di. You get it? Ba'di, then you want to correct
Okay,
it.
Sheikh, my question is on the rule. It seems like the rule is there, but like some things is going on. Because we said if you are able to, arrange the sunnah or maybe the farila, there's no kabli or badi.
Now,
Yeah, I understand him, but he's forgetting about the situation. I actually understand the question.
So here I get it. Now, when you forget sunnah, the chance to what to correct. Here there's no what, there's no qabli or ba'di. And then if it is also if it's also fard, you make up what, you make it up, and then there's no this thing, there's no qabli or ba'di. But when you add a rak'ah, so for instance, example, you forgot to recite Fatiha, right? In the first rak'ah. After your ruku, you remembered. So the ruku is not what? It's not complete here. The rak'ah, it's not complete. So here you can what? After you've rise from the ruku, you recite Fatiha, surah, go for ruku, and then continue. Here you don't have to do anything. But when you add the rak'ah, let's say that after you remember that you did not recite Fatiha, after you stood up for the second rak'ah, here what do? Here you don't correct. You what? You neglect the first rak'ah and then consider the second rak'ah first rak'ah. Then here it will be considered what there is what? Addition here. So you have to do sujood sahwi ba'di. Is it clear?
No.
Any confusion? Alright, so the author continued to say, wa inna qasa wa zada. Here there's also another issue. We discussed that when you omit something or you forget something, you do what? Qabli. And then when you add something, you do what? You do ba'di. So here is another scenario. When you omit something and then you add at the same time in one prayer, you what? You omitted something. You forget to do something and then you added something too in one prayer. Let's say you forgot the first sitting. It's a 4-unit prayer, Zuhur for instance, and you forgot the first sitting. The first sitting we said it's what?
Sunnah.
It's sunnah, right? You forgot. And then along the way, after the final sitting, you stood up also for 5th rak'ah. So here what has happened here? You've omitted, you've what? Reduced, and then you've also what? Added in one prayer. So here, which one will you correct? Do you have to do sujood sahwi qabli, then do sujood sahwi ba'di, or which one do you do? Let's
After the tashahhud, you not do taslim, but you go for sujood sahwi.
Which one, qabli or ba'di?
You do qabli.
Qabli.
Yeah.
Why?
Because the qabli is very strong.
Yes, that's it. So let's listen to what the Imam is saying. So here he said, وَإِنَّ قَصَى وَزَادَ سَجَدَ قَبْلَ سَلَامِهِ لِأَنَّهُ يُغَلِّبُ جَانِبَ النَّقْصِ عَلَى جَانِبِ الزِّيَادَةِ. He said, why do you have to do qabli instead of ba'di? Where you've what? You've increased and also what? Omitted in one prayer. Why do you have to do qabli instead of ba'di? Or instead of the two? So he said what? يُغَلِّبُ جَانِبَ النَّقْصِ عَلَى جَانِبِ الزِّيَادَةِ. He said the reduction or omission it supersedes the addition, meaning it's stronger than the ba'di. Qabli, it means that the qabli, it's what? Stronger than the ba'di. That's what it is. Do you get it? Is it clear? So when you omit, that's when you forget to do something and then add something. So there is what? Reduction and addition in the same salah. You what? You perform qabli. Only qabli. You understand? Because the qabli is what? Stronger than the ba'di. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. والساهي في صلاته على 3 أقسام. And then he said we have what? 3 categories of people. People who forget in their prayer. We have 3 what? 3 categories of people. who forget in their prayer. So he said, so he's now coming to give us what 3 different scenarios, right? Then we see what we have to do. تارة يسهو عن نقص فرض من فرائض صلاته فلا يجبر بسجود السهو. The first scenario, the first category is someone praying and has forgot an obligatory act of prayer. So here he said what? What would a person do? A person who has what? Forgot or omit obligatory act of prayer in Salah. What do you do? What would a person do?
In that situation, maybe in your second rakah, you could assume it's the first rakah and pray it.
Okay, yeah. So here he said it. He said, you can what? You can't correct this with the sujood sahwi. You can't continue and say, okay, at the end I'll do sujood al-qabli to correct it. No, this one you can't. You have to what? You have to make it up. You have to correct it, or you have to perform it. Is it clear? That's what? That's or an obligatory, someone who forgets or omits an obligatory act of salah. Is it clear? ولا بد من الاتيان به وإن لم يذكر ذلك حتى سلم. So even if the person did not remember that he has what? He has omit or has forgot obligatory act until the taslim. He remembered that after what? After the taslim. So here what will he do? He said, وَطَالَ بَطَلَتْ صَلَاتُهُ. So now the person has finished praying, right? And then immediately he remembered that he has forgot an obligatory act of salah. So here what will the person do?
He has finished praying.
He has finished, he has said the final taslim. What will the person do?
So he will come back and pray that particular rakah.
So the person will pray 1 rakah in place of what? In place of that. Right? Because if you omit an obligatory act, the rakah is not what? It's incomplete. So you have to what? You have to pray 1 rakah in place of that. You get it? So here, وَطَالَ بَطَلَ الصَّلَاةُ. That's now the person remembered immediately after his salah. Then the person can what? Can make a rakah, pray 1 rakah in place of that incomplete rakah to make it what? Complete. Okay? So here what will the person do? The qabli or ba'di?
He forgot.
Yeah.
So he will do qabli.
Qabli. Yeah. So the person will do what? The person will do qabli. So that's a person who has forgot an obligatory act of salah until he what? He made the final taslim. So immediately he what? He made the final taslim. He remembered that he has forgotten an obligatory act. So here he will pray what? A complete 1 unit prayer, 1 rak'ah, to make up what? That deficiency or that forgetfulness to what? So he will make 1 complete rak'ah in place of what? That incomplete rak'ah. You get it? Then after the taslim, in this last rak'ah, he will do qabli. Because he has what? He has omitted something. So he will do what? He will do qabli. That is a person who has remembered an omission immediately after his salah. Right? So now, when he remembered after some hours.
So come and pray the whole salah.
Yes.
Come and pray the whole salah. Even if it's in the mosque.
For that one,
If it's hours, so many hours, then you have to start the whole thing.
Yes, yeah. So even if he or she is in the masjid, and then after hours, let's say the person, that omission was done in Asr prayer, and the person was in the mosque till close to Maghrib, this some hours. So here the person has to what? start over, pray again,
Okay.
right?
Sure.
But when the person go out of the mosque for let's say an hour or two, and then he remember, then the person has to what? Has to make up the prayer, has to start over, pray again. Do you get it? Is this clear?
No.
Okay.
But Sheikh, what are the ulama conclusion on based on the hours? Like maybe 30 minutes, 1 hour, or maybe from 1 hour going, even if you are still there doing tasbih, or maybe.
So here, if you pay it, you listen to me attentively. I said after some hours. I didn't say after 1 hour, after 2 hours, after some hours, right? So here, in our daily dealings, do you consider an hour to be a long time?
Yes, we do.
Right? Yeah. So if you consider an hour to be a long time, now if a person forgets, if a person remember after an hour, then the salah is what? It's invalid. The person has to pray again. You get it? Do you consider 20 minutes to be so long? Long? So if the person remember it after 20 minutes, then it's still what? It's still close. So the person can what? Can correct it. Is it clear?
And Sheikh, maybe based on if you are leading also and you're finished, but none of them get this, like find out that there's
We're
a
able
mistake.
to remember that
Yeah, and you later find out that there's a mistake in what you did. So will you call them back?
No, you will not call them back. Now, the Prophet ﷺ says, يُصَلُّونَ بِكُمْ إِنْ أَصَابُوا فَلَكُمْ وَلَهُمْ وَإِنْ أَخْطَأُوا فَلَكُمْ وَعَلَيْهِمْ وَإِنْ أَخْطَأُوا فَعَلَيْهِمْ. So he said, these imams, they are leading you in prayer. They lead the prayer, right? When they get it right, it's for you all. But when they make mistake, it is on them alone. You get it? So the imam alone can come and what? Correct it, and then that's it. For the others, their salah is okay. The imam is on you, you know.
It's a problem.
Yeah. And then the Prophet also said, Al-Imam Dhamin. Al-Imam Dhamin. So it's the same meaning that when there's an error or there's a mistake, the Imam is what? Liable. Yeah. You get it.
Yeah.
So you realize that those who know, they don't fight over Imam Sheikh.
So, what if maybe you just finish prayers and maybe 2 minutes time you remember, but some of the people are still sitting there, like they are still in their rooms? Can you?
Yeah, and then you tell them that this is what happened, let's correct it. Since they are there, you tell them.
So, okay, what is maybe now that I know that you are the imam, so you've done the mistake, now you are so if I say
No, you don't do that. You don't do that.
So you can
When you are there, then you correct it together. But when after you've left, it's the imam's problem, not your problem.
So Sheikh, now if I'm done, me, I'll
Yeah, go. You go, right?
To go to my testimony.
You go. Okay. That's if the angels decide not to record, you don't blame the imam. All right. So that's when he remembers that he has omitted something after an hour or after a long time. Then the person has to pray again. Is that clear?
No.
So this is the first scenario. I hope it's clear, right?
No.
The first scenario is someone who has forgotten an obligatory act of salah and then remembered it immediately after after Salah. The person can immediately correct it. But if he remembered it after a long time, then the person has to pray again. Is that clear? Okay. وتارة يسهو عن فضيلة من فضائل الصلاة كالقنوت وربنا ولك الحمد أو تكبيرة واحدة وشبه ذلك فلا سجود عليه في شيء من ذلك. So the second scenario is someone who has forgotten what? A fadila. A fadila is a virtuous act or recommended act, right? So ربنا لك الحمد, and also Salat ala nabi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala al Muhammad after the second tashahud. And also Rabbana wa lakal hamd, and also the holding of the hands, and then also kunut. All these are what? Recommended acts, and then fada'il, right? So when a person omits this or forgets this in prayer, you get it? He forgets one of these 10 in prayer, Imam said what? There is no sujood sahw on the person. This does not what? Necessitate sujood sahw. Is that clear? The person will still continue, no qabli, no ba'di. The person will make the salam and then it's done. The salah is valid. Do you get it?
So is it the same as maybe you are behind an imam and the imam is doing everything and you are quiet since the salah to the end? You didn't even open your mouth to say anything, but there are a lot of people that are saying that one too. Your salat is still in, but you have missed the words.
Inshallah, since you are behind an imam, the imam will take, it will be on the imam, so the imam will correct it. But why will you do that?
So maybe you two, okay, yeah.
You know, why would you do that?
Your shoe wasn't strong.
I said, you know, we have some people that will do this just for, I mean, like, for once in a while, so that
to practice what they know, right? No, you don't take such risk.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't take. I mean, what if that prayer is your last prayer? You've lost big time. You get it? So you consider every prayer your last prayer, then you pray it well. You get it? Yeah. I hope it's clear.
Yeah.
So the third scenario, and he said, وَمَتَى سَجَدَ لِشَيْءٍ مِّن ذَلِكَ قَبْلَ سَلَامِهِ بَطَلَتْ صَلَاتُهُ وَيَبْتَدِئُهَا. So here, this is what I've said. I told you this before. He said, anyone who omits a recommended act, a virtuous act, a fadila, a kunut, or Rabbana wa lakal hamd, or Salat ala nabi, all these are what? Are recommended acts, they are fadail, right? When you omit this does not necessitate what? Sujood sahw.
Yeah.
So when a person performs sujood qabli, for this, the prayer is what? The prayer is void. Yes. Do you get it?
Yeah.
Let's say that you forgot to say Rabbana wa lakal hamd in one of the rakat. And then you thought that, okay, since this is also part of Salah, let me do sujood qabli, sujood sahwi qabli. When you do it, the Salah is what? It's null. Why is it null?
Because it's considered
You've added something deliberately in the Salah.
Oh.
So the prayer is null.
Okay, sure. I forgot to ask you some serious questions.
A serious question.
Sheikh, what is maybe in Maghrib prayers? You started the Fatiha with 7.
Mm-hmm.
Then you remember maybe in the surah, or maybe you are done, then you remember what was, or maybe Zuhur, you do it opposite.
So, where the prayer that you have to do, you have to recite silently. When you recite it loudly, you will do qabli. And where you have to do loudly, when you recite silently, you will do ba'di. Is that correct?
When you have to, okay.
Okay,
As if you reduce and
Yeah.
Exactly what I say. Exactly.
Okay, Sheikh. So maybe you say they remember that is Zuhur. So they're yaking out.
So here it's not loud. This is okay, you continue.
No, like maybe inside the party and they remember that, oh, I have to do this, but meanwhile you've already taken it out.
Yeah, there's no problem. This is okay. It's okay, it's fine.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But if you are complete, that's where they should.
Yeah.
Say, what if you are alone in your room? Do you are reciting, you are not shouting? Maybe you are reciting Zuhur and Asr. Alhamdulillah. What about that? Because you are not shouting, you are just reciting.
So those outside
no one is hearing, but you are hearing yourself reciting.
Yeah, this is okay.
It's okay.
There's no problem. Yeah, so we said that scholars use what when you recite, if you can hear it yourself, then this is what? This is silent recitation. When those close to you can hear, then it's what? This is loud. They get it? Okay. So when you forget a fadila, a recommended act, that's a kunut or saying Rabbana wa lakal hamd or Salat ala nabi, this does not necessitate sujood sahu. This does not require you to perform sujood sahu. When you do that, especially sujood qabli, the salah is what? It's void. Is that clear?
No. So, but say, if it is sunnah, maybe the taslim, during the taslim, you forget the tashahhud. With that one, you do the...
Yeah. But with that one, when it is one, when you forget one sunnah, you can continue do your taslim without any sujood qabli. But when you forget 2 or 3, then that's when it necessitates.
Like the first
and the second, yes. Yeah. I hope it's clear. Yeah. So this is the third scenario. Okay, go ahead.
So the question is, maybe you've forgotten the prayer you're supposed to pray from then during the fard you've omitted something. I mean, you've forgotten. After some 5 hours, and you remember it and you come and pray the entire, or let's say after some 40 minutes,
okay,
you remember it and come and pray the rakah that you omitted. So, do you add maybe badi or maybe qabli?
No, ask yourself, this 40 minutes, is it considered a long time?
No, maybe not.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you sure?
No.
Okay, so
40 minutes.
You do the judgment based on.
Yeah, based on, if 40 minutes is considered a long time, then you have to start over. You have to start over.
It's not long.
No, it's not you. To people.
Okay, so let's say 20 minutes. After 20 minutes.
So 20 minutes will not be considered what a long time, right? But 40 minutes, brothers, let's be honest. 40 yes, it's a long time.
With only the rakah that when you pray one unit prayer, you've corrected it, or you have to do a badi, a qabli, showing that you've actually omitted it.
Yeah, you have to do qabli if this sunan, right?
This is fard.
This fard? Yeah. So you have to do you have to pray one rakah, then after that you do badi.
Even if it is fard.
Yeah, if it is fard, you do badi. Why? Because
it's omission.
It's omission. Yeah, then you do qabli. If it's omission, then you do qabli. You get it? Yeah. If it's omission, then you do qabli. Is that clear? So the third scenario, وَتَارَةً يَسْهُ عَنْ سُنَّةٍ مِنْ سُنَنِ صَلَاتِهِ. The third scenario, a person who forgets a sunnah of what? One sunnah or part of the sunnah of salah. Okay? The first one was what? A person who forgets obligatory act. The second scenario is what? A person who forgets a virtuous act. And then the third scenario is a person who forgets sunnah. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. من سنن صلاته كسورة مع أم القرآن أو تكبيرتين أو تشهدين أو جلوس لهما وما أشبه ذلك. So when a person forgets to recite surah after Fatiha, or forget 2 takbirat. 2 takbirat. When you forget 1 takbir, there's no problem. Well, when you forget 2 takbirat or 2 tashahhud, do you get it? 2 tashahhud. And then the sitting of a 2 tashahhud, or the sitting, right? Of course, the last sitting is what? It's compulsory. It's obligatory. You get it? So the first sitting, if you forget the first sitting, you get it.
So how you forget the second sitting?
Well, even people forget the taslim. Even people forget the taslim. We will come to that. When you forget the taslim, what do you do? Okay, so now when you forget 2 tashahhud, or 1 sitting with other sunnah, or 2 takbirat, or more, what do you do? He said, وَمَا أَشْبَهَ ذَلِكَ فَيَسْجُدُ لِذَلِكَ وَلَا يُفَوِّتُ وَلَا يَفُوتُ السُّجُودِ الْبَعْدِ بِالنِّسْيَانِ. So here, the person will what? The person will perform sujood qabli, right? Sujood qabli for that. That's the person who omit 2 sunan or more, 2 or more sunan. Then the person will perform sujood qabli. Is that clear?
Say, what if even during the sujood qabli you forget the tashahhud? So does that mean he doesn't know what he's doing?
Well, no, here the person will say salam and then does it. Why? Because it's only 1 sunnah. Don't forget we said 2 or more sunnah.
No, I'm saying that he has forgotten 2 or more sunnah.
Okay.
And now he's praying the sujood sahwi, the qabli. And even during that sujood sahwi, the qabli, he has forgotten the tashahhud during that sujood sahwi.
Yeah, then there's no problem. The person will say what? The taslim. Because the first 2 omissions or 3, the person has corrected it with what? With the sujood sahwi qabli. You get it? So the last omission of the tashahhud, it's only 1 sunnah.
Okay.
So here, there's no need for what? For additional sujood sahwi. Do you get it?
No.
Is it clear? Okay. So that's it. And then he said, وَلَا يَفُوتُ السُّجُودِ الْبَعْدِ بِالنِّسْيَانِ. So let's say that you have to perform, you've added something in salah, and you have to perform sujood ba'di, right?
Yeah.
And you forgot you did not perform. Sujood sahwi ba'di, it's never what? You have to perform it. Whether after a year or after a month. Yes. The salah is valid if you don't, but even after a year or after a month, after a week, you have to still perform it. Do you get it? Yeah. That's badi. Qabli is very stronger. So when you forget to do the sahwi qabli, the salah is what? It's null. You get it? So we said that when you forget 2 or more sunan, that's when you have to do what? Qabli. So when you fail to do it, the salah is what? The salah is null. Do you get it?
Yeah.
But ba'di, when you forget to do it, you have to what? You have to make it up even after a year or after 2 years. You remember, hey, on this date, I forgot sujood ba'di. You have to make it. 8 years ago. You have to. Is that clear?
Say, without on the ba'di, would you pray a unit prayer before?
No, you don't have to. You just do sujood. You make your intention, do sujood sahwi ba'di, then you are done.
Yeah, so what if it's doubt?
Doubt.
Yes. You finish praying and you feel like missed or you've added. So yeah, I'm not sure whether you've actually missed or you've added. But you just feel like after praying.
Yeah, you just neglect that.
You neglect
Yeah,
it.
you neglect it. Yeah. Because when you mistakenly perform sujood, sahwi qabli, Yeah, so with the sujood qabli, when you are sure of what you are doing, you get it. Otherwise, you have to pray twice. You get it. وَيَسْجُدُهُ وَلَوْ ذَكَرَهُ بَعْدَ شَهْرٍ مِنْ صَلَاتِهِ. So with the ba'di, it doesn't fall, right? It's not pardoned. You have to make it up even after a month. وَلَوْ ذَكَرَهُ بَعْدَ شَهْرٍ مِنْ صَلَاتِهِ وَلَوْ قَدَّمَ سُجُودَ الْبَعْدِ أَوْ أَخَّرَ سُجُودَ الْقَبْلِ أَجْزَأَهُ ذَلِكَ وَلَا تَبْطُلُ صَلَاتُهُ. So here, لو قدم سجود السهو سجود البعدي أو أخر سجود القبلي أجزاءه ذلك. Here, let's say you have to perform sujud, qabli, and ba'di, right? And then you performed, we said you perform qabli, right? Let's say you've added and then increase in one salah. Which one do you perform? Qabli. So here, he said you can what? Here you can perform sujud qabli or ba'di, and then the salah will still be okay.
So that's in which situation?
That's in omission, when you omit, let's say, a sunan. So this attached to the last scenario, right? Sunan. You get it? So here, when you perform, let's say, sujud al-ba'di instead of qabli, it's what? It suffices. You understand? But you have to what? When you are sure that you forgot 2 or more sunan, what do? You perform qabli. You get it?
So that means it becomes dangerous when it's fraud.
Yeah, it's fard. When it's fard, the salah it's incomplete. You have to make a rak'ah in place of it if you've not corrected it. You understand? وَمَنْ لَمْ يَدْرِ مَا صَلَّى أَثَلَاثًا أَوْ اثْنَتَيْنِ فَإِنَّهُ يَبْنِي عَلَى الْأَقَلِّ. When you are in doubt whether you've prayed 2 or 3 rak'ah, which one will you consider?
2.
Yeah. So you continue from what? From the minimum, from the less. So you are in doubt whether you've prayed 3 rakat or 2 rakat. So now you are in doubt of what? Between 2 and 3. So it means that for the 2 rakat, it's for sure you've prayed, right? So here it's what? The doubt is on the 3rd rakat, so you forget about it and then start and pray the 3rd rak'ah and then the 4th rak'ah, if it is 4 units prayer. Is that clear? Okay. وَيَأْتِي بِمَا شَكَّ فِيهِ وَيَسْجُدُ بَعْدَ السَّلَامِ. So with that, what do? You perform, you do sujood ba'di. Why? You don't do qabli, you do ba'di. Why? So now you are in doubt whether you performed 2 rakat or 3, and we said you should continue from 2 rakat, right? And he said after that, after the taslim, you do what? You do sujood ba'di, right? Why do you do ba'di?
So that's in case you add.
Yes. Yes. In case you've added, then you will do ba'di. So there's no way that when you use this methodology, like you are in doubt of 2 or 3, and then you continue from 2. There's no way that you will say that you've reduced. You get it? Okay.
So this is fard prayers.
Yeah, this is fard. And now I feel like. Yes, and now I feel too. So here, let's say that you finished praying. You did everything that you have to do, and then you forgot the taslim. You forgot the taslim. So here, what do you do?
Forget the taslim.
The taslim. So what is the ruling of the taslim?
So the first taslim is the greeting to the people, who are following you.
Brothers.
So the first
What is the rule? Yes, that's it. Alright, so you've forgotten the taslim. What is the ruling? What do you do?
So you perform that.
So because it's the last, maybe you've forgotten, and then you start the prayers again.
Are you sure?
Say, since it's fault and you've omitted it, that means you perform public.
Brother, you forgot taslim, right? So meaning the prayer has not yet ended. It's the taslim that ends the prayer. So you forgot to say the taslim.
Then stand up and you go.
So if you stand up and you go then
No one did it.
if you say you stand up and go, because they say the
Too much action,
movements,
yeah,
yeah.
movements, okay? It's nullified as prayer. Okay, so what do? Now you performed everything perfectly. It's left with the taslim, and the taslim ends the prayer. So you did not say the salam, meaning you've not ended your prayer. So what do? Okay. So here you still remember the issue of hours. 40 minutes, whether 40 minutes is considered a long time or... So if you remember it within a short period of time, then you can what? You say salam. You say salam and then it's fast.
You say salam and say salam.
Yeah, you say salam. But with one condition. You should not turn...
To face the Qibla.
You should, your back should not face the Qibla. Immediately your back faces the Qibla. Whether you remember it after 2 minutes, the prayer is...
But say definitely, you just finish, you definitely tend to sit in front of the people. Maybe
As Imam?
As Imam, if you forget the taslim.
Then if you're Imam and then no one reminds you, then there's a problem.
Maybe
because
you just finish, everyone was
if you don't say
to do the taslim.
if you don't say the taslim, I mean, when it what will it? You are praying, you've not ended the prayer, you've turned towards the people.
And they are watching you.
So in this condition, that means that your back has faced it has faced the Qibla. So all of you stand up again. Start
the whole prayer.
Yes.
So and some balancing, even if snake is passing in front of you, have the right to kill the snake, but don't turn.
Yeah, you can kill the snake. And then all the actions that you do in killing the snake will not be considered out of the prayer. I understand. But of course, you have to be sure that this snake will what? If you don't kill it, it will harm you.
So
but
of course, you're afraid of snake already. Or maybe cockroach. So you're praying with this kind of
But like you have to try your best, but try your best not to face away from them.
Yeah, not to turn away from the camera. Yeah.
So it's not only snake. There is why I mentioned that even cockroach or maybe this kind of room rats. Maybe someone see during prayers, especially our younger sisters, see they jump. So we don't want to. It's not going to harm them, but of course, because it's coming in that direction.
Yeah. So when she jumps and the mouse passes, she can still continue praying.
As long as her back doesn't face, even shouting.
Okay, so what if maybe your back didn't face the Qibla, but your back faced somewhere else?
There's no problem. Your salat is still okay. You can still say the taslim. So immediately when you remember it after a long period of time, the salat is what? It's not. Or you turn away from the Qibla, your back faces the Qibla. Then the salah is also what now. But if you remembered it within the first 30 minutes or 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you will see what salam and then the salah is valid. But if you remember, if it exceeds, you remember it after a long period of time, like 40 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, then the salah is what? It's none. You get it? I hope it's clear. Any confusion?
Say about the taslim, you do taslim and you don't know, like you've forgotten that you've done taslim. You don't know whether you've done it or not. You stand up, you go and drink water, everything, you start your conversation, and later on you remember. As long as your back didn't face the qibla, it means you can go and perform the salam. You can sit down and perform the taslim. So these actions that you've done during it's more like as part of, you've included them as part of the prayer. So
now this it will be considered out of forgetfulness. So it says sit and say salam and it's valid.
So okay, that means the rule for the moment, if maybe that one, it will not be considered.
Yeah, it will not be considered because now you thought that you said salam and then you remember that you did not. So it will be considered talking in salah out of forgetfulness. You get it? So you can say salam and then you are done. Is it clear? Yeah. So any question? Okay, let's pause here.
So I have a question.
Okay, ask.
It's not about salat, but
okay. All right.